Okay, take 6? I don't know. We've done a lot of takes, technical difficulties, etc., etc. My name is Eli. I created this tool-assisted speedrun of Harvest Moon 64. Speedrun is where you're trying to play the game as fast as possible. Now you might be asking yourself, but Eli, Harvest Moon doesn't really have a win condition. How can you say you beat it as fast as possible? Well, there are different categories for the game. So we are doing a speedrun of the category called Marriage Percent, where, you'll never guess, you're trying to get married as quickly as possible. So, we're gonna eat our breakfast, run outside. We've just moved to town, so the mayor comes here to greet us in person. Hello, Mr. Mayor. Nice to meet you. I'm the mayor. I'm sure you have lots of questions. Shall I show you around the village? Hell no. Goodbye, Mr. Mayor. 'Cause we have things to do. And by we have things to do, I mean we are going to sleep for 86 days straight. Hashtag goals, something something. So, I'm going to be talking for a while, because huge sections of this game are real boring. This was maybe a poor choice of game to speedrun, but it is a, fond, nostalgic childhood memory of my significant other, and, seemed like a good, easy category for a first attempt, so I wanted to be able to finish something. So, this is actually a practice run. If you are watching this video and listening to me talk, then I may have decided not to go back and finish it, but as I'll point out in a couple of places, this is not the final version of the run. I know where it can still be improved, but I wanted to create a video and talk over it, because best case, I'll have some practice talking, because I sure am not using a script, because scripts are for, prepared people who want to sound intelligent. But also, in the event that I, don't ever go back and fix the run, then I'll at least have created something. So, you may have noticed that we are currently just in a loop of finish breakfast, jump back into bed, skip to the next day. This is because we have very specific goals for this game. We are trying to combine several components to produce one wedding. The components of wedding are, you need to have a house with an upgraded kitchen. You can't get married if you don't have a kitchen. You need to have an eligible bachelorette who likes you, specifically who likes you 220. Has to be a bachelorette. You're not everyone's straight in this game. It's old. Whatever. So, combine bachelorette who has at least 220 affection with you, upgraded house with a kitchen, and you need to have about 1,000 money left over to buy the blue feather. Because how you get married in this game is you give someone who likes you a blue feather, and then they say, "Oh, that must mean you want to get married. I accept." And then you get married. Hooray. We'll also need some more money, because upgrading the kitchen requires, 5,000 money? 4,500 money? I don't know, somewhere in there. And, 450 materials. So, fastest way to get those is some random events in fall, and then the bulk of our gameplay is going to be taking place in winter. So, for the moment, we are just skipping on ahead. We should be somewhere around the start of summer, so you'll notice the music change in a little bit here. That'll be when we've entered summer. The first event we're going to be doing is, yeah, there we go, there's summer. So the first event we're going to be doing is on fall 30th. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, fall 30th. A man named Rick is going to show up and be like, "Yo, can you watch some cows for me? I'll give you money." And we're going to be like, "Sure." And we'll see how that goes. But I want to take this time to talk about some of the broader things about this game. There is a larger sort of overarching bug where a lot of things that are supposed to be negatives are supposed to be positives. My headcanon is that there were two programmers who had a, torrid office affair and decided that it was too awkward and they couldn't talk anymore. So one of them said, oh, I should make this a negative number because it's a bad thing. And the other one said, oh, I should subtract this because it's a bad thing. And if you subtract a negative number, you get a positive number. So, what am I talking about? Well, you can have cows. Your cows have an opinion of you. It's just measured 0 to 255 affection. If you hit a cow with a tool, it will enter the angry state, obviously. But it will gain 5 affection with you instead of losing 5 affection with you. By the way, this is also how you can get immortal cows in this game. Because if you don't feed your animals for a few days, they will enter the starving state. But an animal can only have one state at a time. So if you wait until they're in the starving state, and then you hit it with a tool, it will like you more, and then also enter the angry state, which overwrites starving. So you will, never actually need to feed your animals. This game is kind of effed up. It's an ancient N64 game, which makes it great for doing a tool-assisted speedrun. So, in a similar fashion, there is a particular character named Karen who we will be marrying. Karen, first time you talk to her, you get 4 affection with her. You need to get up to 220. So, the way we get the remaining 216 is we grab our dog and we show it to her. Now, it's a pretty cute dog. That would make me want to marry someone. But the dog also has an opinion of you, and since we're not doing anything with it, it's not going to like us at all. So if you show her a dog that doesn't like you, she'll say, oh, it doesn't seem very clever, or something like that. And you would think that her, being rude and dismissive of your dog would cause her to like you less. But it actually increases her affection of you by 1. So, that's coming up. I suppose I could also talk really quick. We have some time. This is boring. I could also talk about what tool-assisted speedrun means. So, because I want to be very clear, I am not speedrunning this game. I do not have a controller in my hands. I have no physical abilities or manual dexterity, and human runners who can just play the game at these speeds are very cool and impressive. What we're doing here is, it's sort of like we're creating a script. It's just a text file. You can read it in Notepad, and there's some information in there, but mainly what it is starting from 0, which is the frame that you turn on the emulator. Oh hey, we made it to fall. Almost there. So starting from the frame that you turn on the emulator, what inputs should we send to the console on every frame? And the emulator we're using is known to be very accurate, so in theory, with some hardware modifications, you could plug this script, or you could use this script to feed into the, input jack on a physical Nintendo 64, and it would work. Because, everything is deterministic, right? When a computer or a video game does something random, it's not really random. It's choosing an unknowable number based on, the exact clock cycle that we're on, and the value of a particular piece of memory that just changes arbitrarily. But since we're always starting from the same place, we know that it will respond in the same way to the same series of button presses. So, the emulator I'm using comes with some very good re-recording tools. So, what I could do is try a series of inputs, and then go back and modify them in various ways, either changing which button I'm pressing, changing what direction the analog stick is going in, or how far I'm pushing the analog stick. Maybe I want to take the entire section, but just start it 2 frames later. I can just insert 2 blank frames above it. And so you can construct this run where we haven't, like, hacked the game or modified the game in any way, but if a human with a controller could do perfect inputs at all times, what could the run look like? What is the theoretically best way that this could be accomplished? So that's what we've created here. I've never actually played this game myself, so when we get into some of the gameplay, I'm going to be making crap up. Don't at me. It's canon. This is my video. But seriously, I don't know any of the characters. I don't know, like, where they are or what their deal is. I have a very, very limited band of knowledge related to how to do this speedrun. So, we should be nearing the end of fall here. So, any minute now, we're going to finish our breakfast and run outside instead of running back to bed. The movement optimization in this game, for the most part, is pretty straightforward. As long as you are maxing out the analog stick, or not even maxing out, as long as it's above 60, you'll be at full speed. And then diagonals are generally better than straight lines. So if I were to go straight up and straight to the right, it would take me longer to get to that place than if I just went straight upright, or, you know, on a diagonal, rather. I should really have a script. Alright, so here we go. So we've exited our house. Oh, we see a guy sitting there. I think his name is Cliff? I don't know. He wants to talk to us. He has some thing. But we're just gonna go back inside and clear his event. Now, this mustachioed gentleman will ask us a favor. For a complicated reason, they don't have room in their barn for some cows. So he's going to give us something, e.g. money, after he sells them. We'll say, sure, bring the cows tomorrow. See, I'm trying to sell them, so don't let them get hurt or sick. Well, I would look after the cows properly, but, like, I'm really tired. I think I need to sleep for another, like, 6, maybe 7 days. But they'll be fine. They'll be fine. 'Cause this game is not coded well. So, it turns out, if you do literal nothing to take care of the cows, he will still pay you anyway. I don't know if that was intended. I don't know why, but he will remark on the fact that you have, like, ruined his cows, and now he can't even sell them. But you get the money anyway, so fuck it. So we gotta get married. Need that money. So this is the fastest way to get 1,000 money. He pays you 1,000 for that. This is his wife, black-haired woman, and this is his child, small brown-haired child. And then he pops in from off-screen to yell at us. Hey, the cows are in terrible condition. I can't sell them. I lose the trust of my clients. Drat it all. Drat it all is just so charming to me. But fuck it, he paid us anyway, so we're gonna run back inside. Going to go back to sleep until the right day. And the right day is when the town carpenter starts constructing a bridge. Making the bridge is in fall. That's the old route. The old route is you would go work on the bridge, and they would pay you for 1,000 for every day that you worked on the bridge. But the animation for working on the bridge is slower than the animation for the winter version, which is working on the hot spring. So what we're actually waiting for is when the carpenter goes to start working on the hot spring. And we can go help him out, and we get paid 1,000 money for every day that we do construction on the hot spring. Conveniently, the hot spring construction site is right next to where we will find Karen on a particular day. So, you can see we're going to go pick up our dog real quick. Thank you. Now, she's not in the location where it would be efficient to show her the dog today, so we're just gonna pop the dog down there. If you carry it into this cutscene, it will teleport back to the farm. But if you just place it somewhere, it'll stay there forever. He's very well trained. Our dog, I didn't name... Oh no, I did name the dog. His name is A, because that was the fastest thing to input in the initial menuing. So, there's A. Good boy. He's just gonna stay there. We can come pick him up tomorrow when Karen is in the right place. Now, human speedruns will interact with Karen at her family's vineyard. Her family owns some grapes, and they make wine, but the first time you go over there, there's a cutscene that plays that's really slow. And if you go talk to her there, you then have to clear another cutscene, otherwise, when you want to go propose to her, she'll have disappeared. Now, human runners always do this route because she's guaranteed to be there on particular days. She will be there on, the previous day 100% of the time. Where we go to talk to her today, she's only there 25% of the time. So if you were doing, a real-time run, and she doesn't happen to be there, you've now blown your route and wasted a bunch of time, and just have to restart. But we can manipulate the RNG by what time we go to bed. So we go grab our dog. You don't look familiar. Where are you from? Wait. Yeah, whatever. So now we enter the very messy time. You don't know how obvious it is unless you're looking for it, but these dialogue boxes, they're pretty quick right now. If you're holding down B, the text will scroll quite fast, and normally there's a little, prompt in the bottom right. It'll either be an A button or a flashing heart to tell you that you need to press A to continue the conversation. There is exactly one frame where you can press A and have it, register to proceed the conversation without the prompt actually appearing, which is nice, because that lets us know that we are progressing the conversation as fast as is possible. But, as we're going along, it's slowed down quite a bit. Our first handful, the fastest one I recorded was 63 frames from pressing A to initiate it to pressing A to initiate the next one. 63 frames was as fast as we got. Towards the end, they're averaging more like 110 frames, 115 frames. Also, these numbers are slightly inaccurate. This game runs at 30 FPS. So, every other frame of the script doesn't actually exist, and any inputs you give on the off frames won't actually do anything. I'm pretty sure there's a setting that will just, cut those out, but I didn't want to mess with it once I got into it and figured that out. Yeah, God, we do this for so long. This was also the biggest issue, because everything in a tool-assisted speedrun, right, all of your inputs are based on RNG, on the console responding exactly how you expect it to, and even in the case of this, right, we're hitting lag. I don't know what's causing the lag, I don't know where the lag's coming from. Just talking to Karen a bunch, it's not like we're rendering, lots of moving NPCs, but for whatever reason, during this conversation, the game is lagging. Now again, this is deterministic, so as long as we're doing all of these exact inputs, and we're starting from a, fresh power-on console, it will lag in exactly the same spots, and we can deal with that. If you change anything earlier in the run, that will change memory locations, that will change RNG, that will change where people are going to be, if something is in your way, where the lag is going to be. So if anything earlier on in the run changes, things in the future will become desynchronized. So I redid this entire section of figuring out the optimal location for 216 A presses 4 times. Did it the first time, then I realized that there was a better route, changed the route, had to do it again. And keep in mind, it's slowing up and speeding down intermittently, so there's no copying and pasting to be done here. All 215 of these talks were done manually. So fix the route, do it the second time. I then noticed that there was something at the very beginning of this conversation where the, press A prompt was appearing, which means it was not optimal. I was wasting frames on that. And interestingly, because of the lag and the weird pattern to it, starting the conversation 4 frames earlier by optimizing that thing, we wound up being, I want to say, 40 frames faster at the end, just because it changed the pattern of the lag and happened to be better. It's real weird. Someone with more knowledge and determination could probably optimize this further by, introducing pauses to deal with this lag. I was not able to figure out a pattern or a cause to it. Part of the reason for that is this isn't, as far as I could find, no one has done a tool-assisted speedrun of this game, because this is a weird-ass game to do a task for. So, no one has mapped the memory locations of this game. The game has a couple million, I think it's 2.7 million, memory addresses. And each of those memory addresses can contain a value from 0 to 255. Now, in a game like Super Mario Bros., right, there's original Mario. It has been speedrun to death, it has been tasked to death. People have deconstructed every inch of that game, and it's very cool. But that means that someone has already compiled a list of, okay, this particular chunk of memory is Mario's X speed. This particular chunk is Mario's X subpixel value. This chunk is the Y speed. So, if you have something like that, you can look in memory and make a lot of very accurate determinations. We don't have that for this game. I don't know what piece of memory corresponds to what. So, it's very hard to do things like figure out what you need the random number generator to be at to get what you want. Oh yeah. So now that Karen likes us enough, there's some random events that trigger. One is this dream sequence we have, which is kind of disturbing. And the other, you saw that when we came back onto our farm, she was standing here and said, hey, she wanted to give us some wine. But we just went straight inside, because she doesn't care, and it wastes time, and we don't need the wine. So now we're going to do another couple of days of work on the hot springs for Mr. Head Carpenter here. Get the rest of the money, and then we'll proceed with the house upgrading. So back to what we were saying. So I don't have a better way to figure out things like that than trial and error, because I can't actually look at the memory and derive any meaning from it. I did spend a good couple hours. There's a really nice tool that comes with this, where not only can you pull up the memory and look at it, but you can have it filter, okay, show me all of the memory addresses that had the same value from this frame to this frame. and then of those, now filter all the ones where between this frame and this frame, the value went up by exactly 3. Right, so you can, if you know what you're looking for, you can try to find these things. So I was actually able to find the memory address for Karen's affection with you, and confirmed that that had gotten up to the right number. Unfortunately, we didn't do that correctly. The instructions that I had found indicated that the initial conversation gets you up to 5 affection, and then you need 215 dog conversations to get her up to the magic number of 220. This was not accurate, because after the initial introduction and 215 conversations, when I went to go get the blue feather to propose to her, it was not available. Because Rick, the shopkeeper, is magical, and he knows when someone likes you enough to say yes, and he won't sell you the feather until that's the case. So what I discovered is the initial conversation only gave me 4, so we needed 216 dog conversations. So I went back and added in one more, show Karen the dog conversation, but because that changes the random number setup for everything after it, we then had to go and redo a big chunk of this. Also, controlling the weather turned out to be really hard, because if you're familiar with Stardew Valley, which I assume most people are at this point, if you're not, you should look it up. The game is great. But, like in Stardew Valley, this game has a weather report, where you can go to your TV and see what tomorrow's weather is. And that weather report is accurate. So, by the time I wake up today, the weather for tomorrow is already set. And if it's snowing, you get a bunch of lag. Snow is bad. It has to render all of these extra particles on the screen. So to control the weather, you have to go back 2 days. I'm going to stop talking about weather control for a brief... Oh, I forgot I left that in there. So, it is Winter 19th. Winter 19th is one of the town festivals. We've ignored all of the other ones, but this one's important, because we have our money, right? We have our 6,000 money. We were waiting on the stairs there, because it doesn't start until 9 o'clock. But the dog race has now started. So we go up to the mayor's wife, and we place our bets. Except, we cheat a little. She's very forgetful. So when you go in there to place your bets, you can, it costs 50 money to play, bet for 1 bet. And if that dog wins the race, which, how prescient of us, we just happened to guess exactly the dog that was gonna win. It's dog number 2 here, second from the top. If you press A to confirm your bet, she takes your money, she gives you the medals. If you press B to back out of the menu, she gives you back the money, but your bet is still placed. So we didn't actually spend any money, but we still counted as winning the bet, and we got 500 and some medals. This is important because for 500 medals, you can get 500 pieces of material. So now, we still have all the money, we have 500 pieces of material, that's enough to upgrade our house and build the kitchen. Otherwise you'd have to, chop tree trunks or something to get material. It's very slow. We don't do that. We just bet on the dog races. That one was actually a little easier to optimize, because the random number for which dog is going to win is based on, it's based on when you place your bet. So you may have noticed that after we placed our bets, there was a little lag there before we closed out of the window to start waiting for the race. That was because we needed to wait that amount of time for... Alright, we left our dog here. Hello, A. Aww. Anyway, sorry, that ear flapping is really cute to me. So we were waiting until a particular frame, which meant that that dog would win, and the odds on that dog were high enough that we could get all of the medals we need. So we've just gone to the head carpenter. We have to wait for his house to open, I guess. Most people don't like it when you just wander in at 7 a.m. and order a kitchen. But he somehow teleported, and not only did he beat us back to our farm, but he had time to do an estimate and draw up some plans. So we've given him our money and our materials. We have just enough money left to buy the blue feather and propose, but we can't do it until our kitchen is finished. So we're gonna chill for 3 days, and we're coming up on the part where this is not an optimal route. I didn't realize this until quite a ways after, so I wanted to just finish this up, make the video, and then I can go back and fix it, but at least this way I've done something. So we walk outside on the day they finish the kitchen, and he's standing here with his helpers. He says, "Isn't this cool? Look at your dope kitchen." And then we cut them off and run into town. I did this because today is the earliest day that you can propose to Karen, because Rick's shop is closed on 2 other days, and she's unavailable on, I think, the Thursday. What I didn't know is when you propose, you will get married next Sunday. So, going to propose now and then waiting for 5 days is no faster than waiting for 2 days, going to propose, and then waiting for 3 more days. So, because I assumed that proposing as fast as possible would be faster, I have a phone call. I don't think that that's real. I'm pretty sure that that's a telemarketer. So I'm going to hang up on them and not bork the rest of this video, because we're so close to the end. Now, there's a ton of lag right there when that woman in the rocking chair loads. I'm pretty sure that is some character's grandmother, and there's a way for her to, like, die. But it goes into, like, year 2, and it's very slow, so we'll just deal with the lag. So we've now proposed to Karen, and even though we've only talked to her once, and then just stood there showing her our dog for 5 hours, she said, "Of course, yes, I'll marry you." And that's the run. We now go home, and for the real run, timing stops when your wedding happens. In tool-assisted speedruns, the timing is a little bit different. Typically, you time from when you power on the console to when you give your last input. And our last input is actually going to be when we poke the diary to go to sleep the night before the wedding. So we're coming up on time very quickly here. Right, just to finish that last thought, the other route would be faster, proposing on the later day, because our wedding doesn't come up any sooner, but if we propose on the later day, we won't leave our house when they've just finished the kitchen, and we can avoid talking to them. And then we get married. Aww, how cute. And that's that. I'm assuming if you're watching this video that you know me, which means that I've probably been talking your ear off pretty aggressively about this game and making this tool-assisted speedrun. I really like it, and when I get into things, I like to talk about them. So thank you so much for bearing with me. Married with Karen on the 29th day of the season of winter. And I don't have any more inputs after that, so, alright. Yeah, hopefully I will be producing an even faster version shortly. But for now, it's been fun, and